Hello, today I'm making bread. This recipe only calls for 4 simple ingredients: salt, bread flour, active quick dry yeast, and water. Now I've gone ahead and pre-made the dough batter, and it's been rising for a few hours here, and look at that. Oh yeah, that is some good batter. Now the first thing that you're going to want to do, any good bread maker, is get your workspace for forming the dough. Get your workspace for forming the dough. Okay, just sprinkle on some flour onto a nice big large cutting board, and like a child in a sandbox, just move that flour around all over. You don't want any sticky surfaces for the flour to bind to. That will only slow you down. Next step, preheat the oven to 450 degrees. And you're gonna need a Dutch oven or some kind of a bread baking contraption, and this is gonna be a Dutch oven. So first step, I'm gonna put this Dutch oven into the real oven and preheat that for about 30 minutes, and then we'll take it from there. So now that the Dutch oven is heating up in the real oven, we're gonna go ahead and pound that dough like so. This is a no-knead bread recipe, and my wife and I are going to be making a nice bread for tonight's dinner of tomato soup. So let's just grab this dough, I guess, and move it onto here. It's hard to do one-handed. But we're getting there. Okay. And we're gonna form it into a putty ball. And my wife has this tool that she likes to use. I'm gonna set the camera down to grab it. Okay, this is the tool that I was talking about. It's like a scraper. So you're just gonna scrape it over and form any kind of shape that you might want. Okay, and get some of that. Don't be afraid to get some of that flour or get your hands dirty. This is a messy process, and now is not the time to shy away, because we're 3/4 of the way there to getting a good loaf of bread. Okay, one thing I forgot to say was actually the recipe. This calls for 3 cups of bread flour, 1.5 cups of pretty warm water. You want pretty warm. 2 teaspoons of the quick rise yeast, and 2 teaspoons of salt. Okay, so this is getting pretty close to where we want to be. Next step is to get some parchment paper out. Okay, so now that I have the parchment paper out, don't be afraid to sprinkle out some more flour. It never hurts to have too much flour. One thing I failed to note was, while I transfer this bread batter onto the parchment paper is the actual step-by-step directions for it. So I chose to mix everything into, this is a no-knead recipe first of all. I chose to mix all of my flour, 3 cups, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of yeast, and then a cup and a half of the very warm water, all into my bread maker pan. And then I set it into my bread maker on the dough setting, so it actually mixed it all together for quite some time. It is a no-knead recipe, and I do understand that mixing it is actually maybe the kneading process. So I'm interested to see how the kneading has affected the no-knead bread. So let's go ahead and transfer this on to the parchment paper. I'm just going to attempt to do something here real quick. Yep, just don't be afraid to scrape it down. It's the only way you can get it unstuck, like me, if you've got it stuck. Okay, and we've done it. So the next step is to take the Dutch oven out of the pan and get this in and bake it. Okay, so we've got our Dutch oven heated up. Let's go ahead and pop the top off, and we're gonna move this bread over to the. You know, I'm gonna do this with off camera here. Okay, so we've moved the flour and the dough into the Dutch oven, and now all we need to do is simply put on the oven mitt. We're gonna pop on the Dutch oven cover for 30 minutes and pop it back into the real oven. See you then. While we wait for the 30 minutes to be done, maybe I can show you a couple of wine options that I was thinking about for dinner tonight with my wife. With tomato soup is the dinner, so keep that in mind. I got this white wine from France, Spain, and probably white wine isn't that great for tomato soup, I realize. So I got some other red wines. This one's a French red wine, Cabernet Sauvignon, Fortant, and then this one's from Australia. And it's got a hopper kangaroo on there, and this is probably what I would choose, is this Spanish Shania Cabernet Sauvignon from 2020. So that's probably what I'm gonna start drinking maybe here this afternoon after the bread gets done, to warm up a little bit before we start making the tomato soup. Always drink responsibly and never operate any machinery. Okay, so I'll see you in about 25 minutes here. Thank you. So we've now finished baking for 30 minutes. We'll go ahead and take that off. You can see it looks a little weird, funky, but probably okay. Now we're gonna, maybe I should poke it here real quick. Make sure everything's okay. Yeah. A little deformation there, so it's not overly burnt. Supposedly we're supposed to put it in for another 15 minutes uncovered. So we'll do that and come back here. Okay, now that we have finished our final 15 minutes of baking and removed it from the Dutch oven back onto the clean cutting board, this is really our our final product. Okay. If you want to be a little more fancy than me, what we probably should have done is actually sprinkled some more flour on the top. Gives it the nice artisan look and touch and feel. But it's a very unique type of bread. I have personally never seen this type really in shape before. Well, let's go ahead and cut a piece and see how it looks on the inside. Okay, so nice cross-sectional view. Looks plenty moist in there. Really you want the nice hard crusty shell, which what we have is shown right here. So that's it. That is how to make a very simple, easy bread recipe. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And see you next time. I will admit, tastes a lot better than it looks.